And so we're back, but keep on rolling because that's how we do. Part 2, here we are. So, where do we pick up from? The community. So, I wanted to just mention, just touching on the last thing you said, that community is extremely important because, especially in the Western region, we tend to think of
a shallow thing.
I'm not talking about, as I said, just a random sexual relationship of fornication and adultery and all of that.
So yeah, so the Western world, we do tend to be a bit shallow. So when people think of polygamy in the Western world, it's mainly like, oh no, okay, I see you, you know, all of your partners, okay, all right.
I'm not talking about fornication and adultery. I'm not talking about one night stands and running around rampant with other women. That's not the kinds of, when I say more than one woman relationship.
The shallow element.
Would I want to talk to a woman who's sharing perhaps the bed and the money and the social life with who I would deem as my man?
Yeah.
But if a woman finds out that her man has been with a woman while she's been with him for 3 or 4 or 5 years, that's a serious commitment and relationship. And if it hasn't taken anything from me, if I'm not going short of anything, and if this is what he thinks his responsibility is, then what kind of hell are you going to go through to prevent that? Since we cannot stop him, we have not been successful.
Good. Where you all?
So guys, as you know, it's way more fundamental and sentimental when it comes to polygamy in African regions. And I feel like before colonization, where polygamy was quite prominent, you know, it had its own different meaning. It's only through time we get a bit giddy when we think of polygamy. Maybe just think of the sexual nature of what it might entail.
I mean that before we came to America, our men had more than one wife and family, and we were satisfied with it.
It's interesting because polygamy is in terms of relationships and different type of relationship, polygamy is the newest in human existence. It's the newest type of relating with each other in human existence. It's a baby, okay? So everything else suppresses monogamy, and I can understand why we're coming into the polygamy state of mind, but it's still very new. So, yeah.
Black men haven't been waiting on me to tell them it's all right to have more than one woman. Neither have white men. You know, this is just what they do.
I think people are more open-minded to the concept because it's also a different approach to relationships, and it's also different, like a set of tools in terms of how you approach meeting people and like communication, all that kind of stuff. And then obviously polygamy is a little different in the political legal status.
Yes,
so,
yes.
It hasn't worked for anybody, really, but nobody wants to deal with the truth. Monogamy was only created because of the economics of it. Monogamy has failed for the white man in America.
Yeah.
And maybe if it was more common, especially in the Western region, then this whole phase of side checks or side bitches, it wouldn't really be too much of a hassle. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I mean that there are many black men who have children by more than one woman. What is to become of those children? They need their father.
Just saying.
Yeah. Both guys and girls.
But a man who has 2 women, that's not necessarily a mistress. That's just his other woman. Now we got 2 choices. We can be the woman or the other woman. We don't have it, those 2. Now I know we don't like that. I don't like that. You know, but that's the reality of our life at some point. Now it's up to the man.
Yeah, both ways.
I want to be country.
He says that for now.
Yeah.
When it becomes the norm, we'll be seen who's who, you know?
Who told us that was cheating? Where did that idea come from that that's cheating?
So the next misconception, so everybody is tall.
Yeah, no, that's obviously not true, guys. Not everyone is tall. Not even in Sudan, everybody's tall. We come in many different cultures and tribes, so you will find that a lot of Nilotic people in Kenya are tall. That's just our DNA. Nilots across of Africa are tall. So from Sudan to Kenya to Uganda. But then you will find different tribes that are just, you know, are different. So yeah, you will not find just all tall people. And as we're now becoming the newer generation of Kenya, like we're mixing with different people. Like I'm marrying someone from Jamaica, so by the time I have a child, that bloodline that was, I hate using the word breed, but the bloodline that was given out to tallness is no longer going to exist because I'm bringing in a different bloodline into the mix. So yeah, yeah, that's it. We're not all tall.
I had the pleasure of going to the Masamari village. I don't know, dude, you went as well?
Yeah.
I did find the majority were tall.
The nylons.
I said, okay, so I'm learning with you guys. Powerful.
Yeah. I mean, they have a culture of like, they have their jumping competitions. So,
Yeah.
I think it plays into that, and it's very interesting. Yeah, there is a different. I definitely noticed that while I was there, most domestic people were able to kind of differentiate by look and like facial features, like which tribe or region or whatever people are from, and maybe there's a relationship conversation there. But I mean, like you can kind of say that with other nationalities. After adopting it for a while, you're like, okay, you can kind of see the patterns.
The patterns, yeah.
But maybe. But
So what would be the shortest tribe?
I'm gonna. It's ever gonna be the Kikuyus or Mukambas. You'll be able to tell them because and then Niger Congo. So anyone of the Niger Congo bloodline will tend to be shorter than anyone who has a Nilotic bloodline or Afro-Asiatic. So from Luos to Maasais, we're different tribes, but we're the same bloodline. But like Kikuyus, they're shorter than us, so their blood is more of a Bantu type of blood, which comes from West Africa. So you're bringing all that in. So I would say them, and then obviously the tallest being the Nilots, which are the Maasais or the Luos. I don't know if you got to see any Luos, the ones who like to fish a lot and stuff like that. We're super tall, hence me. But yeah.
But we love the tallness. It's always been like a massive sex appeal. Oh, short legs, we rock it too. Then we get our short legs attack. So the other misconception: Kenya is unsafe.
Ooh, can I say this here from my perspective? When I read this question, my cousin Abby came into my mind. She's born here, but has lived all her life in America. And I told her, let's go to Kenya. And everyone before she went, like, oh my God, it's so unsafe. She's in America, lives in Baltimore. She was like, look, ain't nothing more unsafe than my hood. Look, nobody gonna mess with me. She literally like, ain't nobody gonna mess with me if I don't mess with them. I ain't gonna go in there and just think these people are gonna steal from me. I'm not kidding you. I'm telling you, this girl was walking in Kenya. She don't care like this, and no one's approached her. No one stole nothing from her. We do look different because we're coming there stunting, but everyone left them to peace. So yes, we do have guns. Our police have guns. We live on a constitution, do you know what I mean? Like America. So we are allowed legal guns. Our police officers are allowed legal guns. Even if you're at a traffic light or in a shop, you will see it. But they're very friendly. But just like every police department, you will always find the corruption. So if you do happen to be on the wrong side of the day one time and you meet a corrupt officer and you don't have money to give them, then it's on you, boo-boo. But no, Kenya as a totality is not unsafe. Very, very safe. More safer than London, I feel.
Yeah, agreed. When I read that, I had a friend pop into my mind. I actually just chatted about this yesterday, and she's like, it's so unsafe. Like, I'm completely on the opposite side of where you are. And she gave me her experiences of like, she was put up there, but went back and like spent time with family, but overall, like, if Kenya's dangerous because of the terrorist attacks, I mean, like London, everywhere gets attacked. So I definitely felt a lot more safer in Kenya. You get the same kind of petty crime as you would anywhere else, but I would disagree with Kenya's extremely unsafe.
The extreme power.
Yeah, definitely. Like I think there's a little subtext that's saying soldiers have arms, and I think that's common for a place which has been attacked.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Like I went to the Philippines in Manila, and when you go to the supermarket, they'll check the car for bombs.
Yeah.
They have the like automatic guns there as well. So is it Manila unsafe? I mean, like this as much as any other place, right? But you kind of adjust, and you understand like there are areas, there are times, there are places, as any city or country has. So yeah.
And on that note, time for the next one. Okay, this one. Can't stop laughing when I think of this misconception. So, Kenyan women love money. I love when we were just like,
I mean, so I've heard on the radio of like there's a random talk show that I was on. I was just going through how like a lot of women prey on men for their money. So straight up yes, generalizing again, and I think there's a little bit of a survivalist nature to that, right? Where it's like I want security, you know, and I can do this. There's a real example that popped into my head, which is like, you know, there's that conversation that we might have had with the China and Kenya like relationship, and with construction workers, and I remember seeing like a couple with a baby, one assumedly Kenyan and one assumedly Chinese, and I was very curious as like, how did that happen? Where did that come from? Was it organic? Did they seem loving? I don't think they said. I don't think they were like, oh, you know. It felt very transactional.
Yes.
So I was really confused, but at the same time, like, not surprised, because it's like this happens also with other African men as well. So like,
Absolutely.
so yeah, Kenyan women are beautiful and good. They're great. I'm not saying that like other nationalities aren't, but that's where I came from.
When I was in Kenya, I was like, wow,
Yeah.
stunning, beautiful, gorgeous women.
Yeah.
Very inspiring as well, very artistic and sweet-natured. So men, you know where to go.
You know where to go. Yeah. They want your money.
Oh, she's a gold digger. Way over town. That digs on me.
Which, funnily enough, ties into the next misconception.
I ain't saying she a gold digger.
Kenyan women are attracted to men from the West, as well as Western African men.
Okay, when I was younger, maybe I just don't remember. I don't know if this adds into it, but when I was younger, I never wanted to marry anyone from my country. I felt that we would, like, I had this conception, like, look, I'm probably gonna marry like my brother down the line in ancestral. So I always wanted to always have a foreign partner, and it's only when I came to the foreign world did I start to declutter the parts of the self-hate of me, and I was like, okay, cool. But yeah, when I was in Kenya, I was not feeling them men. Period. But now, my Kenyan men, I'm where you at? Like, so that's just my experience. I'm not saying that's the experience of every person, because everyone in my family has ended up marrying Kenyan. So it's that's just
So it's maybe just like a phase.
It's just like a phase. Maybe other men are more attracted to us, because we are a hub like London. We see many different people, from Italian to Japanese to Chinese to every single person has come through Kenya, and so we do get to see, especially in Nairobi city, that maybe the village is not much, but in the city you get to see that, and so then it piques your interest. Like, okay, so there's something else.
Yeah, and I feel like, you know, all over the world, everyone goes through that phase when they're a kid. Do you know what I mean? Of who they're more attracted to. Everyone.
Yeah.
I won't say what it was like growing up here. But
Yeah.
let's just say everyone has that phase. Everybody. So the next misconception is mainly Kenyans with Indian descent that are entrepreneurial.
Obviously, that's not true, because I haven't got Indian descendant in me. Maybe I know I don't, but maybe, who knows? 10 down the line. But I'm entrepreneur. My grandmother, a full, not even mixed with any other tribe, full Luo. She would tell you, entrepreneur, sense. My great grandmother, my great grandfather, and many of my uncles are in politics right now. Many of these people, and they don't have an Indian blood. That's why I'm proving it that way. So, not to take away from the Indian descents who are there and have the entrepreneurial spirit, which I can understand why. You're away from your land, so you're gonna go harm differently because you're not in a comfortable situation. But yeah, that's what I would say. But what do you guys feel about that?
Yeah, I think I wouldn't solely say that the Indian descents are entrepreneurial. I think it's like just Kenyans, right?
Yeah.
But I think that's the difficult part, because what you see freely is the Indian wealth, because I guess they visually it's like a bit different. Like you wouldn't be able to tell like a Kenyan entrepreneur and a non-one and then like understand that, but maybe I'm going a bit crazy on that topic. But yeah, I don't think it's like solely Indian Kenyans are entrepreneurial. They also have been placed there against their will historically, and they have adopted to be Kenyan as well.
Absolutely.
And Kenyans are resourceful. That's the main thing.
Yeah,
I think the baseline of that doesn't matter what class, they're resourceful. And on the entrepreneurial side, like the Indians I think have been known to have the wealth, that said, there's a lot of Kenyans with a lot of wealth as well. So I think it's a bit of a great question.
I would say that the majority of people who hold wealth in Kenya are not Asians. Whether you want to call it in from the political end or the business end, it's not Asians. And yeah, it will look that way, and Asians do have their play in it, but yeah, the majority rule. that's just the sense of it, the majority rule.
Kenya pioneering M-Pesa was a game changer for Kenya's economy.
I agree. Do you guys agree?
Big time.
Yeah,
100%.
I agree. Even the village, like I know when we talk about village, you guys would think some poor stuff. So just bear in mind we have villages in the UK as well. So it's the same thing, just outskirts of the city. So in the outskirts of the city, you have a nyanya or a grandmother selling her tomatoes and stuff, and no more cash, man. Just gives you her number, like what? And I found that so weird because our phone is not even a smartphone. It's just, it's like a Nokia brick phone. Just put your number in, and I find that money coming on the internet is just so phenomenal, like to me, especially in the space of Kenya, and I can't wait till we have it over here. Like,
that's the weirdest thing, I think, because like it's based on old technology using SMSs to actually transfer money around, and like you can also talk about microfinances, which come into that realm, which allow movement of money, because like everything from like loans and things aren't accessible to the less privileged, to say. And like M-Pesa can help you build up and move money around without having to go to a bank, because typically there'd be like lines in the bank, and banks are inefficient in terms of like, it's just no one's enjoying their time there. But like, you know, SMS here, SMS there, you got the money, we're happy, okay, bye, and that's safe for you, you know.
And it's really good because it helps with the, pickpocketing and stuff like that. So as long as you've got your things saved properly, someone just take your phone, you can just cancel that and you protect yourself instead of you carrying loads of cash, and then someone is just taking all the cash that you've had on there. So I like the economical part of it, the safety level of it, and I didn't even think of that, but it does definitely bring opportunities to those who didn't. I'm on that side, like,
because a lot of the times it's like, the hard cash was a problem to have to move around. But M-Pesa, like, I can be in UK hypothetically and send someone M-Pesa, and they'd be done with it. And there's a lot of other digital currencies. The competition being in Kenya, there's like something called Kuba Cash, which is a cryptocurrency.
Woo! Yes. Now we're talking Kenya. Be really please.
Because it's known as a tech hub, right? Like Nairobi is known as a tech hub. There's got like iHub there and all these other companies like Brick that do things. But it is an interesting thing. Like here, like if I bring China's kind of view on it, where they have like WeChat and they use QR codes to pay, which we're experiencing a little bit here when we go to some restaurants. You have a QR code and it's like, here's the menu, and then you have to pay through this card, and it's like a bit of a laborious process because you have to like go through this thing. But over there is like the same way that M-Pesa has a number which you send them like the way bill to. There is just a QR code. So instead of putting the code in, you just scan this thing, and then you just put in the number that you want to send them, and then they'll receive it, and you're done. Right?
Come on.
But like Western developed country that we are in London is still clunky, and we're still pushing against like new forms of financing, like Bitcoin and what have you. Whether you believe it or not, there is pushback, right? But then for me, like there's an interesting analogy to like Napster and like Kazaa and all those old school downloading like media, when you used to download music from LimeWire and stuff, right? There was a lot of pushback against that because of the legislation. But lo and behold, like we do that every day, everywhere, constantly, right? And it's just like the change was a problem because the legislation and the people at power that had all the money and the control was starting to be directed somewhere else. No one keeps their monies in their bank anymore. That's why banks are so
I don't.
No one does, right? Everyone's putting it into like investment, quote unquote.
Exactly
whatever that may be. and there's people being
no financial advice.
People are worried. So it's like, okay. But then like M-Pesa comes along, it's been adopted, it's helped change lives, it's helped enable things, right? It's like there's like a kind of weird like mirror or like opposite of worlds, where there's a quick adoption and a quick change, where there's like slow adoption, resistance, confusion and stuff, and it's a big conversation. But M-Pesa definitely has made a lot of noise,
110%.
Yeah.
Massive. Like, yeah. So I'm just excited for Kenya, where it's like going in terms of its economy and it wanting to come away from being backed up by the US, reserve dollar, and just start up, because it makes no sense. So then our pesa can now be some Bitcoin or XRP or some feature, not by national advice.